Hello, my name is Erin Schroeder. I am a second grade teacher in the Iowa City School District. I am also a graduate student at Morningside College. This is a research presentation about the use of multiple intelligences to improve academic performance in a diverse classroom. Statement of the problem. In order to reach all students' individual needs, it is essential to differentiate instruction and assessments by identifying which learning style is best for each student. Now, I chose this topic because I was interested in the need of creativity in the classroom. I wanted to bring back student choice. I wanted to bring back options to use projects and creative works in order to show learning on behalf of the students. I felt that students needed engaging and creative options in their daily classroom environment. And I feel that it's necessary for learning and assessments to meet the large range of students that might be in a classroom at once. So this is information that has helped guide my research. I used a few different current research methods that are out there right now. One is a well-known multiple intelligence theory by Howard Gardner. Now, this is a bit outdated with the bulk of his research being the theory that he developed in the 1980s. However, it has merit in the fact that we use a lot of differentiation, instruction, and strategies in the classroom today with the basis that each learner and each student has strengths and weaknesses in different areas. And this bodes well with what Howard Gardner believes. He feels that there are many types of intelligences, and we as human beings might exist in many of these areas, but a student or an individual might be strong in one or two of these types of intelligences specifically. So a quote that I found to be helpful as I did my research was that if individuals differ in their intellectual profiles, it makes sense to take this fact into account in devising an educational system for individuals, which makes sense to me, and I wanted to further research this in my classroom of second graders. So to tap into Howard Gardner's theory of multiple intelligences, there are several types of intelligences. There's linguistic, which is an understanding of the use of words and language, mathematical and logical, which is an understanding of numbers and logical patterns, naturalistic, an understanding of nature and biology. A student might be very strong in the spatial intelligence, which is understanding of visual and spatial intelligences. Bodily and kinesthetic, it's a skill or a physical movement specifically. And there's musical, which is an understanding of rhythm and patterns. And so a student might take one or two of these areas and really prosper well in them, use them to their abilities to learn to high potentials, or use these to share their learning, and others might be trickier for a student, or they might not grasp the information as well in one of these areas. To continue, Howard Gardner also believes that there are interpersonal and intrapersonal intelligences, which is the ability to understand and respond to others, as opposed to an understanding of their own emotional strengths. Now, along with Howard Gardner's multiple intelligence theory, I used information that is similar. However, it's called the triarchic theory, which is Steinberg's theory, and it's based on a similar notion that you can be strong in different areas. However, this has three different intelligences: analytical, creative, and practical intelligences. And so it's kind of along the same realm as Howard Gardner, but yet it's simpler, and there's just three. So analytical involves problem solving. Creative is being strong in the areas of problem solving in new creative ways. And then practical intelligences involves everyday intelligences to solve problems, being more practical. Both of these theories, there are implications for educators if instruction or assessments are delivered in only one way. A large number of students may not be able to learn or demonstrate their understanding to the best of their ability. And so I believe that educators need to find ways to deliver lessons using this information or student information, learning styles and preferences in each of their classrooms to deliver lessons and activities that allow students to use their preferred type of intelligence. And it's our responsibility to find out those preferred types and to do our best to tap into each student specifically. A research goal of mine was that if lessons and activities and assessments include multiple intelligences and include student choice, include that option of students being able to do what works best for them or to know that they have some options and they have some ownership, that academics will improve and students will be intrinsically motivated to learn or to do well. Additionally, I feel that educators will learn how in one classroom student choice was incorporated in lessons and in assessments, and then my hope is that educators can take this frame of reference and be able to deepen understanding and motivate their own students using what hopefully I have been able to show in my research. So I used second grade students. They were in my classroom and we were doing a research project on national parks. There are 26 students and they each chose a project based on their learning about national parks to show their learning in whichever learning style that they were interested or that best fit their profile, to share what they learned and the factual information they acquired while they were researching their national parks. Students were observed through a process of creating, building, and staying on task as projects were designed and created. So what this meant was while students built whatever project they chose to later share with their classmates, I was observing students through while they built, while they created, and minimal classroom management techniques were needed because students were motivated and they did stay on task while they worked. For my results, I found that students were engaged during their project building. I did not need to help redirect students to get students on task to intervene in any way. They were motivated to do their own work and to make it look well and to have the information show in their work and to incorporate the facts that they learn in order to share their learning with others and as well as their parents and myself. Redirection in classroom management was not necessary. Students were on task and motivated, and it was quite an enjoyable time for the students as well as myself. Student conversations were also centered around being happy to learn. They were enjoying class at this time. National Park facts and learning was being shared. Students were excited to talk about what they were learning with their peers, and this was all a genuine conversation that was being heard by myself while students worked throughout this process, which was really exciting to hear as a teacher. Students' learning was evident in projects that were created by students. So while they were creating their projects, I could see the facts they were learning and retaining being put into their project in whichever project they were choosing. Students of all academic levels were successful in incorporating their facts and understanding into their own projects. Students created things such as PowerPoints. They used Google Slides. They use an iPad to show their facts in a creation app. They might have made a poster. They created models. Lots of different methods were chosen. This was based on a student's interest or what best fit their learning style. A large array of options were given to them, and students could choose from these lists or whatever way that they were creating in their own mind to share their learning about their national park. It was exciting to see what was created and what was decided on and what each student chose. So some implications, project-based learning, this type of like student choice, learn as you go, let students create. It was specific to each student and it allowed for deeper understanding on learning topics, student motivation, and engagement. I had students that were maybe not necessarily as successful in writing or taking paper pencil assessments that were able to really shine through this method because they got to choose what best fit them and then successfully communicate that to their peers and to myself so I could see what they were learning. So I felt like that each specific student had a deeper understanding of their national park rather than just asking them to take a test after their learning. Students showed that they valued their learning. When they were given the choice, they got excited. They really wanted to work hard. They had lots of great questions, and they were able to kind of guide their own way while they were asked to report what they've learned. The educator, myself, I needed to allow some variations in learning styles and assessments to see the students' potential, but really once the work began, it was little on my part. The students, I gave them materials in the area to work in, but they were able to take what they wanted and make the most of it for their learning. For further research and my recommendations, a longer timeline and a larger student sample might allow for more observation, more information gathered on what works best, if it truly will benefit students in the long run, and we'll just gather more information on how to implement this in a classroom long term. Also, a larger variety of learning opportunities or more units to do this with might be able to give us more observation and information on, does this benefit student learning? So instead of just one project on national parks, could we implement this throughout the year over lots of different projects? And will it build on for the students? Will they get more successful and deeper in their learning as they go? Or will this stay stagnant and not continue to benefit them? So I feel like further research and to continue this in that way would be very helpful for educators. And ultimately, we will be able to find what works best for our learners, which is our goal for our students. References I used in this presentation are located here. Thank you for listening and enjoying this presentation and possibly using it in your classroom to better your learners. Thank you.